from the first match. We were confident that we would go places this season.
My motivation is to ensure that after this game, we have a foot and a half in the semi-final.
At the start of this Zone P quarter-final round campaign, not many would have thought this would be a top-of-the-table clash. But it is. Glenmuir were simply brilliant in humbling the highly touted Cornwall College 2-0 in their last match. Lacovia were good too, easing by Old Harbour 3-1. Lacovia have moved through under the radar this season, but this, their first time in the limelight, will be an opportunity to show what they really are made of.
It's the first time we'll be playing against them. I've never seen them play since this season, so we'll just be going out there, and if during the game we have to make some changes based on what is taking place on the field, then we'll do that.
It won't be easy against Glenmuir, who have been strong at the back this season, conceding a mere 4 goals in 11 matches. Up front, they possess great speed, a combination which will make them tough to beat and prove there is life after coach Patrick Jackie Walters.
We are confident with our preparation. Preparation is to get all the players healthy, and once they are healthy, we are sure that they will give a very good performance.
Today's winner, if there's one, will take a giant leap towards the semi-finals. Who will it be? Glenmuir, Lacovia. The battle starts now.
Thank you very much for your company here on TVJ Sports Network. My name is Damian Gordon. The Costa Cup quarterfinal round action, Lacovia versus Glenmuir, the first time these two teams will be shown live this season. St. Elizabeth Technical, this is their backyard. Damian Gordon, your commentator. Christopher Taylor will be the analyst of this encounter. We're at the Stets home ground in Santa Cruz, and it's an immaculate surface that greets us here in the parish of St. Elizabeth. It's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful feeling. The nice climate so far, not the usual hot temperature that normally greets us here in Santa Cruz. The sun has gone away, overcast conditions. The rain might be with us before the end of this encounter. And the fans have started to file in. And Chris Taylor is alongside me. Certainly Lacovia looking very good. Glenmuir, their strip all laid out and getting ready for the players to parade yet again. They want to be number one, and they have some way to go before they can reach that milestone. And as the players go through their paces here, warming up, and they will be looking to none other than their leading goal scorer, Ricardo Dennis, to try and take them past this very difficult Lacovia unit. And Lacovia, they've only been beaten twice so far this season. Both defeats have come against the defending champion, St. Elizabeth Technical. No embarrassment in losing there. Earl White, the coach of the Lacovia team, and he's feeling confident that they will be able to get into the semi-finals. And their top man is Javon Williams, and he's going to be really the key for their progress here this afternoon. Of course, Glenmuir, they haven't put a foot wrong at the back, and Lacovia, certainly they'll be hoping that their flag will be flying high at the end of this one. And the fans are here getting ready for what is expected to be an acid test. Glenmuir, they were champions in 2012. They also won in 04 and 06. Godfrey Stewart sandwich between them in terms of the titles won. Lacovia sitting atop the standings with 3 points. Glenmuir there with them as well. So really goal difference identical, but by goal scored, Lacovia, they are out in front. Old Harbour and surprisingly Cornwall yet to get off the mark. No surprise that Glenmuir are the ones here who will start as favorite. In their last 5 matches, they've won 2. They've lost once. Just like Lacovia, it's an identical record coming into this fixture in terms of wins, draws, and losses for both teams. 2 wins in their last 5 games tells you that there's something equal about them. And of course, Glenmuir coming out of a very difficult group against Garby Monsieur, in which they had to play runner-up. Lacovia also came through as a second-place team behind St. Elizabeth Technical. But here they sit equal on points, looking across on each other, having played one game in this quarterfinal round. Later on in the piece, it will be St. Elizabeth up against St. James. And it's going to be very, very tough here this afternoon for both teams as they head into battle. Maybe a very good time to say good afternoon once again to Chris Taylor. But before we do that, we're going to throw to a break. And when we come back, it will be time for kickoff for Lacovia versus Glenmuir. When that one they done him join with. I'm done, I go work with record up on radio. Yeah, somebody that text my little friend here. Still have some now go able to come as early as we did think. Go in now, yeah, in. Who? Oh, yeah, I like him handbag, you know. She just a smile with me. Every minute. She just a smile with me every minute. I'm like a good idea. I said, nah, trouble the boss food. Nah, trouble the boss food. Huh? Then I over one. Oh, yeah. I know him at the referee, you know. I don't. I think that parchment.
Him at the fourth official.
Parchment? Worst case scenario, just take the game and go and do it. I'm my referee. Kind of parchment time.
Parchment that travel far.
Almost parchment I ref this game, man. Then a Danian him name. Oh. Yeah, I go on.
Ready, Damian?
Yes, yes.
Hey, get Glenmuir.
Yeah, man, they just have pray and come. They're ready. They have no one to them to come. Actually, you ready? Yeah, you ready on the way. It's a brown, and where you going? No, sir. You don't buy all the first name. That are just rare. You understand? That you like smart in a try to your food, man. How that?
Hey. Ready, let's go. Andy.
3 times. That's all? Welcome back to St. Elizabeth Technical Home Ground. Lacovia and Glenmuir will take this as their battleground for the next 90 minutes. Lacovia, they're pretty much familiar with this venue, having played here earlier this season when they lost to St. Elizabeth Technical and having to play runner-up in that group. And they bumped out the more fancied Monroe College to get into the interzone round. And here they are within maybe 4 points of making it to the semi-finals. It's their highest achievement in the history of the competition. They got there in 2008. As for Glenmuir, they have raised the Holy Grail on 3 occasions, and there is no doubt that they have it in them to go on and reach the final yet again. And so as the teams march out here in Santa Cruz, it's time for battle once again. It's a top-of-the-table clash as well. Danon Parchment, the referee. Nicholas Anderson, the assistant. Ajay Duhaney will help out on the far side. Alton Brown will be the 4th official. So Glenmuir in red, Lacovia in their light blue and white. And in just a short while, we'll pause for the playing of the national anthem. Coming face to face for the first time this season. And the Glenmuir team, they are very, very confident. Their defense is as kind as an apple tree, or rather, should I say, a star apple tree, because they really don't give up much at all. As for the Lacovia team, they're guilty of being a little bit untidy at the back at times, but going forward, they can really be a force to be reckoned with. maybe now the perfect time to say good afternoon to Chris Taylor, my expert analyst, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Damian. Good to be here in unusually cool conditions in Santa Cruz, known to be the hottest place in Jamaica. And I don't doubt that statistic one bit. But very interesting matchup here on our hands. Top of the table clash, and both these teams have shown good signs so far. Of course, that's the second time Lacovia has gotten past the first round. As you mentioned, the semi-finals in 2008, and this is the first they've been able to repeat that action of coming out of the zone.
Their starting lineup, had a chat with one of the assistant coaches, and they was saying to me that, look, it's one of the teams, the youngest teams in the competition. Andre Freighter between the sticks, he's a 9th grader at the school, and all these players have been Lacovia bred, so no one coming in or out. It's a team that has started and pretty much continued right through. They are a young set of players. They got to the semi-finals of the All-Ireland competition in 2011, and so they have retained most of them. Javon Williams is their key man, and he will be looking to add to his 9 goals so far this season, contrary to the 3 that came up just now. As for Glenmuir, Daniel Forrest between the sticks, Alex Brown, Ryan Brown, Roberto Randall, Cyprian Lewis, Faizan Waters, and Razim Randall. Look out for Leroy Bryant as well, a very tough man, and normally he barely puts a foot wrong in going forward. That one is met by the captain, Alex Brown, and it's picked up by Spence. This is Andrew Spence, and you get the feeling that you will get a good game from these two teams here. Haven't had the privilege of seeing them so far this season. And so the assistant there on the far side, Ojay Duhaney, just to tell you that Daniel Parchment is the referee and Nicholas Anderson is the first assistant. And this one is swept across the park, and the chase here. And that one is won by the man in red, sporting a dreadlock, Razim Randall. Helped on by Bryant. And cleared that time by Thomas. Now it's with Staple. And free kick Lacovia. And these two teams are into the zones of the unknown because they really don't know much about each other, so they'll have to take time to assess what the opponent has to offer.
Certainly, and as I mentioned, both teams will be coming in with a good deal of confidence. Lacovia defeating Old Harbour 3-1 in the last match, and Glenmuir over a tough Cornwall team 2-0 with a shutout there, so they'll probably take a little time to feel out each other here. Of course, Lacovia from St. Elizabeth, Glenmuir from Clarendon.
Here is Dennis. He switches the point of attack, and that was a raking ball across. It's now at the feet of Bryant. And it was played just a little behind Walters, who had to check his run. No, they come again. Intercepted by Blake. And this one is shifted forward for Staple. And he's driving, it's behind the defense, and it forces the man Williams a little wide. Manages to pull it back, but it's behind. And Williams likes to run off the shoulders of the defenders. 9 goals so far this season. And you can see why. He's pretty alert around the box.
Yeah, good speed is Williams, and has been clinical so far this season. Maybe that's a wrong decision a while ago, and I think that looked like a shot in the end, but certainly too tight the angle, and might have been better suited just putting a decent square into the box. But this Lacovia team, as you mentioned, full of young players, and it spells good for the seasons to come. You know, so a lot of talent here in this team.
Glenmuir building with Lambert. 5 goals so far for the talismanic midfielder. This one comes out for Dennis. He comes back to Randall. Poor first touch, showed a little too much of it to those in blue and white. And Staple willing to gallop. He's still going, needs some support. And it's spread further out by Brown. And Kadeem Stone took a little too long to get the ball into the penalty area. Now here is Blake. Rushing back to take it off his toes was Givens. Now it's by Walters, moved out to the right hand side. There's a man down for Lacovia. He wants some attention. This one is knocked into the penalty area. Chase here for Dennis. Confronted by one. He's trying to go around him. Still Dennis, and 2 defenders converge on him to remedy the situation. And Lacovia, they still have a player down. And he should get some attention now.
Very nice surface here too at the States playing field. Something that I've noticed over the last few years. They've put a lot of effort, time and energy into this ground, and they're certainly playing dividends. It's nice to see a schoolboy field with this amount of even grass and spread, and certainly makes good for the technical aspect of the game for the players as well, that they can trust the bounce and movement.
It's Kadeem Stone who is down. And maybe this will confirm the reason he has stayed on the deck.
That's probably overstretched.
That was a crunch on him there.
Yeah.
That can be pretty nasty. Cyprian Lewis. So right there, just...
He probably just overstretched there again with the left foot. But again, we see this Lacovia team certainly starting on the front foot as well, looking to attack. Both teams, in fact, looking to attack early on and take the game to their opponent. So certainly no form of intimidation so far, and that's good to see as well. Glenmuir has always been a tough team.
And they've always had supporters following them around as well.
I was lucky to see them in that 04-06, those 2 years when they did win, really top quality team those 2 years.
Patrick Jackie Walters, certainly
right.
They really hit the straps. Made it difficult for all comers.
I remember at that time when Excelsior were in charge of things in the Manning Cup, and when I remember them playing a game against Glenmuir, and Glenmuir really took them to school, and it was amazing to see considering how dominant Excelsior were in the Manning Cup. I think when they won back-to-back 03 and 04.
In the year of Zimenez and those kind of players.
That's right.
And had the privilege of watching Excelsior Jamaica College as well on Tuesday. It was really a top presentation from both teams.
Top game.
Absolutely.
And it shows that a nil-all draw can be exciting.
It was. It was on the edge of your seat stuff.
Excelsior defended very well. Very impressed with the Excelsior performance on Coach Lanneman. Much better than what we saw in the first game against Charlie Smith. They've really raised their level.
Glenmuir probing now with Givens. And I don't think he spotted the run of Leroy Bryant.
I was talking to an ex-schoolmate from the Lacovia team, Ronique Rowe, and otherwise known or better known in his parish and so on as Bun Son. Don't ask me how he got that nickname, but he's now a final year student at the University of Technology, and he was the star goalkeeper that year in the Da Costa Cup, and was a goalkeeper when they got there in 2008.
Plenty pace being shown here. He's gone into the box, whips it across, and the goalkeeper comes out to block it. And the referee has spotted something in there that went awry. The captain of Glenmuir has gone down. Or in fact, it is Ricardo Dennis who has gone down, but really purposeful run and a good delivery into the penalty area. He put it into position A1, and then the goalkeeper came studs up on Ricardo Dennis.
The goalkeeper came hard.
Are protected species, so you get into that zone, you run the risk of being killed.
You used to be coached to avoid the goalkeeper once you get into that box. But Lacovia, as Ronique had mentioned earlier, one of the things they had suffered from over the years was the fact that they didn't have a sixth form, and so players ended up leaving after fifth form and maybe at young and so on. and he thought that the addition to the sixth form addition would make a difference. He also mentioned that he thought coaching over the general public, the times and Lacovia has had the better teams has been when they've been under proper coaching, and we see Errol White here as well. He was here in that time as well, and Ronique certainly a top goalkeeper that time, still a good keeper. It shows that there's a lot of talent around in this little island.
Absolutely. And this one goes into touch of Brandt. Throwing to Lacovia. Touched back by Spence. And then it's swung across the park, and the goalkeeper is bright to the situation, Daniel Forrest. Poor pass seized upon by Brown. Now Williams. Staple has made a run, it won't find him. And that's one given away rather easily. Lacovia, they're really getting first to the balls. The second balls, they're getting there on them and picking up the knockdowns. Here's Givens, roughed up. This time by Mullings. And so he needs some attention for that knock on that leg there, Ricardo Dennis. So we have played 10 minutes here in Santa Cruz, and it's goalless between Lacovia and Glenmuir High Schools.
Of course, both these teams missing out on the Super Cup, coming second in their zone. Lacovia in recent years have been dominated by St. Elizabeth Technical.
And Monroe College too.
Correct.
They have managed to beat Monroe and knock them out of that automatic second spot that they've always had year in, year out. Here is Williams. Defended well by Lewis. Up towards Bryant, just a little push to the back.
Monroe, of course, is a team that has won the most the Costa Cups of all time. Haven't won one since 1964, though, I believe.
Absolutely.
Shows how dominant they were in the early years.
22 titles to be exact. I think that's the count the last time. Contemporary success have eluded them. They're going to have to try and fix things, maybe under a new coach next season.
1964, that was around your time, Damien.
This one is sprayed through, looking for Staple, intercepted though by Randall. Dennis was back battling and is fouled. And Dennis has scored 6 times so far this season.
They have 2 players with 5 and 1 with 6, Glenmuir. Kevin Lambert, the number 7, he has 5, and so does Javon Ennis, the number 10.
Not the best of pass. Straight to Lambert. And really is looking for Dennis. And this time the defending is very good from Nicoy Blake. Now Staple. Free kick in favor of Lacovia. So 0-0 the scoreline, and neither goalkeeper having anything to do just yet. in the contest, but all of that could change in a quick time. Don't think either team really yet to get their passing game going. Lacovia coming down the right-hand side of the Glenmuir defense. And that is their preferred channel through which they have tried to attack. And so far it hasn't happened for them. Maybe a change of route could work in their favor.
A lot of midfield work so far by both teams. Both teams have started with a good energy. There's a nice little pace to the game. I agree, it seems like the Lacovia team, they might be younger, but I don't think they're any weaker. They seem to be winning majority of those 50-50, even 60-40 tackles.
Their bench is very confident. I had a chat with one of the assistants, and he was saying that, look, they truly feel they can come here and beat this Glenmuir team, even though they're blessed with very good talent. No, Rondell. Looking for Bryant, who seems to be running on his heels.
They beat an Old Harbour team who had shown many good signs this season. They were a part of the Super Cup as well. They made it through. They were beaten by Heidel there, and they were put away by Lacovia 3-1.
I've seen Old Harbour on a couple of occasions, and they really aren't anywhere near what a good football schoolboy team is. Pretty ordinary. Here is Ryan Brown on for Rondell. And I wonder what his intention was.
I don't think it was a shot. I just think he got the cross wrong. Wanted to bend it around. The ball just came off the outer part of the boot instead of the inside part, which he would have needed to get it around the defender.
Well, Ricardo Givens had, or rather David Givens had pointed into an open space, asking him to drop it there, but he couldn't deliver it with any great deal of efficiency. This is good work here from Glenmuir. Nice movement of the ball to get out of the tight space. Here's Evans.
Something that this Glenmuir team has been known for over the years.
Evans using his pace there to get down the byline, but was not quick enough to pull it back.
When past the left back of Lacovia pretty easy a while ago was Givens.
It's not the first
It was
time.
actually Givens, it was Ennis actually who carried the ball down there, the number 10. In any case, good speed showing. Looks like we're going to have quite a bit of a shower very soon, Damien. Towing grey skies here.
Here's an issue. You have two players in on the Glenmuir team seeming as if they're wearing captain's armbands. Alex Brown, the number 6, and Ricardo Dennis. Well,
Looks like they have a captain for each half of the field.
one is defender and one is the attacker. So
Yes. I've seen teams do that before. I've had many cases where you've seen one of the captains be the goalkeeper and then another one of the attacking midfielders or so on. So I guess Glenmuir have decided to go with that tactic.
here they are trying to knock it about out of defense. Really cool. Here's Lambert. Up for Dennis. Dennis working his way inside and smuggles it out into the path of Ennis. And this time Ennis is dispossessed, found himself in a battle there with Kadeem Stone. This one was aimed up at Williams. Here's Bryant. Back to Lambert. Now Brown comes inside for Ryan Brown. So two Browns playing at the backs, Alex Brown and Ryan Brown. Solid defending on that occasion from Sean Watson, the captain of Lacovia. Quite often you always see teams having their captain being a defender or the goalkeeper or a holding midfielder. Here is Givens slipping one inside the box, and the goalkeeper is summoned for it. And that one ran very close to the striker, but the goalkeeper was very cool there, Daniel Forrest.
And the game settling down a bit now. Glenmuir showing their experience, look a little bit more composed on the ball and relaxed at the moment. Lacovia have a nice energy to them, youthful exuberance as you would say, but seem a little bit frantic when they get the ball.
Well, interestingly, the captain's name is spelled Sean, but it's Sian.
I've seen some
Sian
strange pronunciations and names nowadays, Damien. Gone are the days of the traditional names, Chris.
You had no problems in school.
Exactly.
Here is Dennis. Good vision, good pass. Some lightning in the distance. Cyprian Lewis now.
Very common down here in Santa Cruz, the lightning.
Here's Lambert. Can he pick a pass? One is over the top for Dennis. But the space now being quickly narrowed. And the man gets a foot in.
They did a cricket tournament down here last year, the under-15. And let me tell you, some of the most intense fork lightning I've seen in quite a while. We had to leave the field. I hope that doesn't happen today, but it's certainly setting up.
Randall blasted, and this could leave the man feeling a little dazed. He's trying to stay tough and strong. That certainly made good connection with Mullings. So 21 minutes played, 0-0 the scoreline. On by Lewis. Alex Brown, Lambert, now Williams, 1-on-1. Williams has gone by him, problems here! Normally they would have mortgaged their house that he would have put that in. 9 goals so far this season. Certainly they thought that was number 10. How did he miss that? He went for the power. Placement would have been the ideal.
And we see it here, a lovely move. Just dropped the left shoulder to fool the defender and just didn't keep his composure, was Williams. The goalkeeper had already committed himself. As we see here, a nice drop of the left shoulder to get the defender off balance. That seemed to have been Ryan Brown. And the goalkeeper had already committed himself. Probably just needed to place the ball to the left of the goalkeeper into the open net. And what a chance missed by Javon Williams, and he kicked the ground after. He knew that that was a golden opportunity. And
those tend to come back to haunt.
He missed that comfortably though, Damien. It wasn't even a close miss.
Here's Lambert, caught on it once again.
But certainly a good change of pace. We saw once he got that ball and accelerated, he was gone. And that's warning signs for the Glenmuir centre backs. Playing with a 4-4-2 formation is Glenmuir. Lacovia have gone more for the 4-2-3-1 with
more attacking,
with Javon Williams being the lone strike up front.
But that formation gives you almost 4 persons in attack most of the time.
Correct. That 3 means that one plays behind the main striker, usually in what you'd call a number 10 role, and then you have the left and right forwards.
That man there knows that his team has just escaped.
Very common, very used formation nowadays, a 4-2-3-1. We see many Premier League teams and overseas teams using it as well, national teams.
Corner kick for Lacovia. And it's coming very far. The defender is attacking it there. Sian Watson missed it, but then Lacovia will get a throwing in the end.
Now the German team used that formation as well in World Cup. I'm not so sure if your beloved Brazilian team used the formation, Damien.
Well, if they did, they got used. David Givens, well done by Devon Mullings. And Lacovia really aren't frightened by this Glenmuir team at all. Alex Brown puts a head onto it. It falls kindly though for Stone. Stone drives it in, and Williams was after it as well. Comes back out to Spence. Under tremendous pressure though from Walters. He is pretty strong.
Quite heavy set is a figure of Andrew Spence, very short and thick, and he certainly won't be bounced off of many balls.
Absolutely not, but
see here, came in very hard. Ah, that's a nasty tackle. And that had that been a little later on in the game, Daniel Parchment might have very well have gone for the yellow card. Not a nice step.
Just got a little excited after.
Well, we see this Lacovia team does have raw ability. We see it, raw pace and a good energy. They don't yet have the experience, but they believe in themselves. It's clear so far.
Kevin Lambert on for Ennis, up towards Bryant. Ennis coming back up in support, but two players ganging up and averting the danger rather easily. And so the captain, Sian Watson, there, just getting close to Bryant, along with Nicoy Blake. And just guilty there of flashing the hand. Luckily for him, the referee Damien Parchment has decided to be lenient. High boot. Lambert gets away with it. On for Ennis.
Quite a travelled man, referee Damien Parchment. We did a game with him at Catherine Hall. We saw him at Constant Spring with us as well. Now he's down at Stets. He's touched quite a few areas of the island so far.
Glenmuir trying to come through, and Bryant is offside.
Cricketer as well is referee Daniel Parchment. Used to play senior cup for GC Foster. Very useful medium pacer and low order batsman.
Watson plays it up to Staple. Staple under real pressure here from Lewis. And now Stone has one of throwing.
And we see all the Lacovia players, they seem to be all very pacey, very quick. The first step is very good and very strong.
And they too have pace up front in Ennis. Here is Bryant. Was coming back from an offside position probably. This one is swung over to the far side, was aimed at Dennis. It didn't get to him, but Lambert fires it in! What a goal! From the very top draw. You really can't stop those. What a finish, a bolt from nothing. Kevin Lambert breaks a deadlock in the 28th minute.
Top goal by Lambert. And from the ball left his foot, I was looking at the trajectory and I said that the goalkeeper is in trouble. Goalkeeper Andre Freitas was in trouble. Took it good, well controlled, and then didn't try to overkick it by any means, and beautifully placed into the top left hand corner of the goal. And Lambert with his 6th of the season, joint top scorer with Ricardo Dennis, and that was well taken. Good technique. Just hit it with a slight outside part of the boot, and it gave it a nice curl away from goalkeeper Freitas. And the dip was perfect, and so was the celebration. We see the backflip. It seems to be a common celebration now across the world.
So Williams will look back now. Javon Williams at his miss at the other end. and realize that, look, that could turn out to be costly. Here's Lambert. On for Dennis. Dennis back to Randall. Inside now for Walters. Spread out for Lewis. And David Givens just brushed off it there, and then he's won it back. And then he has presented it back to those in blue and white.
I think my good friend Bon's son might be a little bit upset that goalkeeper Frater didn't make a save. He would have liked to thought in his 2008 year that he would have tipped that over the bar. Was not to be today though. And Lacovia all to do.
Here's Walters. Back to his captain Alex Brown. And this is Ryan Brown back to Alex. And that pass had some pace behind it. It was knocked down brilliantly by Givens. Now Dennis. And they turn into traffic. Now it comes through for Spence. Spence looking for Williams. Williams trying to match the pace of Randall. Here's Williams again. And turning into problems. Free throwing to Glenmuir. So after 30 minutes, it's those in red having toppled the fancied Cornwall College in their first match 2-0. Leading it here by a goal to nil against Lacovia, who scored a 3 in their game against Old Harbour, and they could have gotten the first one in this contest. That Javon Williams been a bit more composed.
Should have got the first one for sure, Damien. And he'll be very disappointed. Hasn't shown the same composure that he's shown all season.
Here's Spence.
We'll be hoping he gets at least another opportunity to make good.
Now Stone. Just knock it into open space. Oh, it's given away by Alex Brown, and Staple trying to work his way inside. Stone might get a chance to cross it. He does dig out one, but no one there to meet it, and now Mullings has to hurry. He does rectify the situation.
That's a little bit of inexperience now on the Lacovia part. A beautiful ball put into the box, and there was nobody coming in towards the back part. We'll see the right midfielder. He was marking space. And just a little bit of ball watching here by the Lacovia team. The best time to score is right after you have conceded. Even out things right away.
Renila Brown, not the best delivery. And it's away by the goal scorer Lambert.
Seems like the rain is almost with us as well. That will put a different complexion on things as well. This grass will become very slippery.
And Lambert showing his usefulness at the back as well, doing some defending. So a corner kick here for Glenmuir with 32 minutes played. It's Randall who will take this one from the far side. Delivered into the back post, and just for a moment there you thought that Bryant had read the flight of that one well enough.
Breeze has started up there. You see how that ball held in the breeze, and might have to make some adjustments now, both teams, in terms of how they kick the ball. More along the carpet, the better, especially for Lacovia. They're kicking against the breeze.
They have to try and plot a way back, but they do have goals in them. Especially here at States, they will find a way maybe to get back into the piece. And it's a team that likes to play in wet conditions, I can tell you. So maybe if it rains, they probably will make life a little bit more difficult for Glenmuir. Here is Spence. That was playing in the wrong direction. Mullings. On for Brown. Brown looking for Williams to attack it. He has the pace to get there, and he's trying to go around Brown. Ryan Brown, that is. Brown stayed close to him.
Relies on his pace a lot, Javon Williams. Just wants to get a little pocket of space and touch the ball around the defender and then go for his shot. Not one of those that look to use a lot of foot skill to maybe get around his opponent, use his speed. Nothing wrong with that, but needs to get the right passes into him.
This is a flick on, it's headed away, and it should be held further by Dennis. Up towards Bryant. Oh. And referee Denon Parchment telling Bryant to get up. He might have gotten a little touch there. Here is Spence. In towards Brown. Brown's space opens up, and he really never made the kind of connection that he was looking forward to.
Not at all. I think it was maybe the jump that he took just before he kicked it that threw him off. Maybe he just needed to keep his feet on the ground and use the technique. Kick through the ball, but jumped, and I think that's why he probably got the bottom of the boot in the end.
Maybe he should have just gone for the inside of the foot to curl it instead of looking for the pace, just like it was with Williams. He
That
went
as
for
well.
pace.
Maybe he should have watched David Silva last weekend. Played a beautiful left foot shot for Man City.
And again, there is too much pace behind this one.
Again, some of these youngsters are so excited to get into that form, that position, that they don't have the composure to think about it at that point. They just want to put their foot through it and hope it goes in the net, and that was another one of those occasions.
Here's Bryant. Mullings turns back into him. Here's Spence. Free kick Lacovia. And I like the way the Lacovia team they set up. You realize they do have persons in attack, but when the play breaks down, they have sufficient coverage at the back.
Very fit so far, seems like Lacovia team. They run a lot. As I said, a very raw ability here, very quick and so on. You don't see a lot of the finer details as we've noticed so far, the overkick plays and so on, but speed and strength, they certainly have that. And they're a fit team.
Givens to Bryant. It's returned. Well, the door shut by the captain Watson. Now Spence. Plays it a little behind Renila Brown. Staple is beaten to it. Here is Stone. On for Spence. And the stocky little man, he was looking for some options, couldn't find any.
It's almost like his teammates are waiting on him to do something instead of maybe creating a moving into space to give him the option. I saw Renilo Brown a while ago, the number 10. He was there free, he wasn't calling, was just standing up and waiting and watching Spence. And that's probably the section that Lacovia need to work on. They need to, they need to communicate when they get the ball up there, move into spaces and support. And that's something that maybe the more experienced players of Glenmuir have been doing better so far. We see Glenmuir networking well within the middle, passing, moving, creating that triangle formation to get the ball forward. And
Randall's throw is flat, it's headed out, it needs to be monitored by those in blue.
You hope, though, that with experience, as you mentioned, this is a very young team, that with experience, these are some of the things that will come into play as they play more games at the Costa Cup level. They scored 17 goals already, so they do know how to find the back of the net.
They would love one now, even before half-time.
Williams has scored more than half of them.
Here he is, really delightful take. And somehow he has gotten out of a very tight situation. He's still going, puts it back into the box. No one attacking it in blue. In the blue and white, he needed one to get there, but Alex Brown did first for Glenmuir, luckily. But what a really good change of pace that was from Williams.
And showed good skill a while ago. Flicked it, backheeled it through the legs of the Glenmuir defender, who was Razim Randell. But again, Lacovia guilty of ball watching, not getting into the box to support him. And you can't be on the attack down a goal and there's nobody in the 18-yard box. We see it here again. What a take this was here. And we're going to see the nice little flick here. Yes, through the legs of Randell. And look at that first step. He was second to that ball. Should have been second. And did a good job. Not a bad ball in, but nobody coming in and a lot of space there.
If someone in a white top was attacking that, they might have gotten back on level terms, and it's fizzed in. The goalkeeper has mishandled it, and it goes behind for another corner kick. So Lacovia upping the tempo as the half-time whistle approaches.
Nobody on the back post. We see the replay here again.
Possibilities here. The shot comes in, it's over the top as you look back at the replay.
Again, we're looking at the replay. Thankfully, we didn't miss anything important there, but again, that ball put in, nobody at the back post coming in. And Lacovia need to get more bodies inside this box, as this was a second corner here. Not a bad delivery, aiming for Williams. It came out again. I think that was Watson again who turned here. Has scored already, Watson.
And Mullings miskicked the first one, Devon Mullings. Here is Spence. He looks as if he wants to get one on the top of the box to really build it. Here is Mullings. And playing it behind the defense. Brown is attacking it. But the pass just a little heavy.
Nice play by Lacovia coming forward now. Maybe Mullins might have been better. So I see what he was trying. It's not a bad attempt, but might have been better off placing the ball inside the box with a nice little chip. There were two players waiting for once from Lacovia.
Glenmuir lead the contest, but Lacovia by no means being outplayed. They have had their moments.
Saw one of the Glenmuir midfielders trying to bounce Spence off the ball a while ago. I don't think they have learned their lesson yet. They'll have to get a new tactic, because he certainly won't be toppled over too easily.
Away by Mullings. Stone. Walters comes in pretty ferociously and knocks it away for throwing.
Getting very windy here, and I think if the breeze stays with us, then it might take the rain with it and not allow for too much of a weather problem. Good irrigation system here as well. And the water does tend to run off nicely.
Here is David Givens. And Lacovia again defends well. Comes back to Givens, he can't bring it under his spell. Now Mullings. Spence. That one was just a little too far forward. Stone steps in, Walters covers well. Spence looking for Staple. Allow that to get away from him. Alex Brown clears it long. Maybe it should just allow this to run for the goalkeeper. Here is Bryant. Only knocking it down for Lacovia to fetch through Nicoy Blake. Now Brown. Still Brown trying to slip away from a couple of challenges. Lambert. He seems to be so cool and has all the time on the ball, but no, Lambert.
Maybe lucky to get away with that. That looked like it could have been a foul a while ago.
On for Givens. Givens to Bryant. It comes back to Lambert. Just trying to usher it through rather quickly. Now Spence.
Ball starting to skip across the turf now as it gets a little greasy, if you want to call it.
Now Stone going in and he's looking for Williams. Randall is backtracking and did very well.
Well, Williams not looking at the ball when it comes over. He just wants to turn and run, but he needs to have an idea of where the ball is going so he can position himself properly.
Here is Stone trying to step by his man. Staple comes in, a good tackle. This should have been a free kick. And referee Parchment.
I don't know what referee Parchment was seeing there. That was clearly a tackle, and then he came in behind the player a while ago. Took him out from behind. And that was certainly in an advantageous position. This isn't.
Just 1 minute of time to be added at the end of this 45. It's knocked on. Here is Brown. It's blocked by another Brown. Free kick. It was Renila Brown who pulled at the trigger. Ryan Brown with the block for Glenmuir. And I'm hoping that the Rangers continue to skirt the issue and don't come here, because it's going to make life uncomfortable. So the minute of time confirmed. Really good take here from Bryant. Then he's started off and Lambert has come up in support. Looking a little cooler than you sometimes can appreciate.
The rain starting to blow in. I just wonder if we maybe have the coverage at the wrong side of things. Well, I think this breeze worked us out pretty well.
The half-time whistle is rather imminent. Glenmuir's advantage as they head into the break. Now, Cian Watson wins a throw very deep.
And Glenmuir certainly have the edge in the scoreline, but I would give Lacovia the edge for the half in terms of how they have played so far. And they have got more thrust going forward.
Daniel Parchment ends the first 45 minutes here in Santa Cruz, and it's Glenmuir who lead the contest through a rather rasping shot from their number 7 man Kevin Lambert. Was a really good finish, and they took it from maybe some 25 yards out, probably more, but certainly a good first half.
Good first half so far. I don't think either team will be too perturbed by how they have been playing. We see some of the highlights here, and a lot of midfield players, so not many balls coming into it. This was a good chance and well defended there. We can see from Errol Stewart, did a very good job. And we see the speed of Williams here, who was giving the Glenmuir defense a lot of problems, and this was his best opportunity and should have converted that. Had the goal at his mercy, and you see his disappointment there. Should have just placed it, and this was the excellent strike. It went actually into the top corner of the goal from Lambert, and he seems to be a gymnast himself. But certainly a good volley, good technique. And you see certainly none of the teams backing out. This was another good move, flicked it through the legs of Ramden well, and played it into the box. Nobody there, and that's been part of the problem for Lacovia. We see another attempt here. The ball will come out here to number 5 Sean Watson, and he couldn't keep the shot down. But Lacovia need to get more players into the box if they're going to make a difference in this game.
Welcome back to the St. Elizabeth Technical High School. The goal from the fantastic feat of Kevin Lambert in the 28th minute. the goals scored here. And the Lacovia starting lineup, just to remind you in case you've just joined us, in between the sticks, Freighter. Then you have Stewart, Blake, Staple, Watson, Stone, Spence, Williams, Thomas, Mullings, and Brown. And Williams certainly has done well going forward for Lacovia, should have scored. As for the Glenmuir starting lineup, Andre Freighter between the sticks. Then you have Lambert, Brown, Brian, Brown, Alex Brown, and certainly the referee Dayton Parchment getting ready to get the things on the way. So the goal from Lambert separate the teams after 45 minutes, but plenty to play for in the next 45. And there's a slight drizzle, so the ground is a little greasy. But certainly Lacovia will have to try and ensure that if there's another goal in this game, they find it.
Certainly. And they would want to at least leave this game with a point. And we mentioned that they are on top of the group based on goals scored, winning their first game 3-1. And Glenmuir, they won their game 2-0 against a tough Cornwall College team.
And that's for Cornwall College. They should get their first win in the interzone, in the quarterfinal round rather, because they have Old Harbour at Jared Park. And unless there's something catastrophic, they should not lose. That game will start at 3 o'clock. Here is Spence. Gets it out to Stone. Stone into Williams, and his first touch just deserted him. So that game kicks off at 3 o'clock, Cornwall College versus Old Harbour at Jared Park. Here is Bryant. The space quickly narrowed by Thomas, manages to get it back in, and what a strike! It's a brilliant finish here. The referee points to the center circle, which means that strike from David Givens has given Glenmuir the ideal start to the second half, and just the one Lacovia dreaded. It was played across, took it on the chest, or rather on the thigh, and then lashed it between the legs of the defender.
That's actually a well taken goal. As we see the cross coming in here. The cross is from substitute Ramon Green. No, sorry, it's from Leroy Bryant. And well placed into the box for David Givens, and took it well on the thigh there, as we see. And slipped and spun with the shot, and well placed goalkeeper, no chance, Andre Freighter. And he's beaten for the second time this afternoon. And again, Lacovia with more of the ball and more of the play, but Glenmuir with the goals. And that's what's important at the end of the day.
So Givens getting his second goal of the season. And it could yet turn out to be priceless as they push for a semi-final spot. Remember, they have lost only once so far this season. And that was the second game of the interzone round, and they went down 1-0 to St. James. Here is Spence.
St. James themselves, they have a tough encounter. They will be playing next year against the home team Stets. They are coached by Theodore Tapper Whitmore, of course.
And this one runs behind for a goal kick.
Rain is certainly with us now, and she's well covered. And again.
Here is Stone. Really good defending here, and on he goes Javan Ennis, using his pace. Stone. On for Mullings. Mullings looking for Staple. That is overhit. Randall allows it to run. No, Bryant. And the Glenmuir team, they have been quietly efficient.
As I say, more composed team, more experienced team. And when they have the ball, they don't seem frantic on it. They take the time, pass it around and so on. Both goals, if you think about it, have actually come out of nothing. It's not like you've seen consistent pressure from the Glenmuir team and then at the end of it there's been a goal. On both times it was a fortuitous ball that came out and an excellent execution with the volley by Lambert. And on the second occasion it was just a ball that went free and it was a beautiful delivery into the box and a well taken finish. So Lacovia certainly had their chances. They have gotten into the box quite a bit, but they have lacked the finish. And that's been the difference.
Now Spence trying to motor his way through. Here is Dennis. Lays it back for Lambert. And he was trying to return the favor to Dennis. Spence across the park for Stone. Just a very limited options up ahead of him. And he has to just roll it into Blake. Oh, that's a poor giveaway. Lambert on for Bryant. Looking for Dennis. Dennis out for the run of Ennis. Ennis is very quick. And the two players coming across, none of them have been able to stop him. .51 minutes gone, and it's Glenmuir in a complete control in terms of the scoreline. Goals from Lambert and Givens, giving them a comfortable platform here. Now Stone. That's a meaty challenge. The clash of the 13s, and it bounces in Glenmuir's favor. They are not too happy with the scoreline. It's only because of the breeze why their flag has taken such a flight, because it's Glenmuir's day so far.
Certainly so far. And as you said, they have stayed composed, they have stayed relaxed throughout the attack and efforts of the Lacovia team, and they're 2 goals to the good. And things getting a little more slippery out here now with these rainy conditions, and this just might suit the more experienced.
Oh, brilliant run here from Lambert, slipping a one through delightfully. The keeper comes out, the man goes around him, goes down, and a corner kick at the end of it. Dennis did very well to get in there. Stone is down almost on the half line for Lacovia. But what a mazy run. That was a brilliant pass from Lambert. And
a nice pass by Lambert there. Good footwork to get away from the midfielders and slipped it delightfully through. Good effort by the goalkeeper in the end. Came well, came with 2 feet, certainly cleaned him up, and I'm glad to see that Dennis got up uninjured. As we see here, was, well, he wasn't even looking at the ball or the player was a goalkeeper. He just put himself there.
A blind challenge. Here comes the corner kick, and it might come back out for the taker. And he was trying to serve it to Lambert on the top of the box, and it's knocked into touch here by Ryan Brown for a throwing. In the meantime, Lacovia temporarily down to 10 men. Stone is off being treated. Nice turn there from Stewart. Then he's looking to find Brown, and it's swept away. Back out to the far side. He should have tried to release Williams. It took so long. Here's Spence into Williams. And Williams guilty of overplaying. Here's one hit back for Spence. Spence checks inside and then He goes for it from some way out.
Nice little touch by Spence there, but that shot was always going to be off target. But trying to be positive, was a good way out though, and certainly would need a lot more on that to beat the goalkeeper Daniel Forrest from there. Playing with the breeze now is Lacovia.
This one is touched forward for Mullings. Randell is still over there with him. And in the end the touch comes off. Randell, it's a throwing to Lacovia. Comes long. Williams climbs, knocks it down, and Brown was attacking it, but so too was Alex Brown for Glenmuir, who slaps it clear. A much more comfortable bench. The former ISA president also in there. No. So Errol Stewart has stayed down here for Lacovia. They are the ones giving you the lovely pictures here from Santa Cruz. Here's Lambert. He was looking to find Ennis. But certainly Lacovia, they need to try and get balls into the penalty area. Yes, they're going forward, but you don't get the feeling that they are likely to penetrate.
Not unless the ball comes to the foot of Williams. He's the only player who looks like he's going to get into that 18-yard box or make a difference.
Errol drives it in, headed out. And it's taken up now by Evans. Or rather Ennis, who has good pace and is looking for Bryant. And then Givens goes inside the box. And a high boot there from Givens. And it's a yellow card as well. He left an impression there on Cian Watson. So David Givens, the goal scorer, is booked, and this is why.
He gets himself in a book. First yellow card of the encounter, I think. Yes, it is. So referee Parchment allowed to keep the cards in the pocket so far. Well, Lacovia again, not so sure that they have adjusted to these slippery conditions as well as Glenmuir, and Glenmuir have certainly defended better in the second half. We haven't seen the holes in the defense that were created from the Lacovia team in the first half, and they have blocked out the passes to Williams well. He seems like the main threat, and they have closed him down pretty well. And you probably find that coach Paul Walker would have pointed that aspect out to his team, that Williams certainly is the danger man and he needs to be the one that is closed down. The weather continues to be annoying here at the Sets ground. Can't be nice for the players either.
There's a loud noise as the Stets team, they are walking out to get warmed up for their assignment. And that comes up against St. James.
That match, of course, is against St. James. Was due to start at 3 o'clock, but we're definitely going to have a late start in that one, as we had a late start in this one.
And so Lacovia trying to push forward, and there was a miscommunication there. Ennis trying to take it forward. Oh, this is tidy footwork here from Ennis, and he's using his pace as well. He's running brilliantly. Plays it through for Givens. A chance. 3-0. Right through the heart of Lacovia. 3 goals and maybe 3 points with 30 minutes still left in the contest. Brilliant goal from Glenmuir. Lacovia just had no answer. Gibbons gets his second. Delightful stop from those in red.
Definitely, well taken goal. Brilliant finish, and Glenmuir certainly on top. No way back for Lacovia from this stage. 3-0 down here, and Glenmuir on the ascendancy. And we see the skillful play here from Javon Ennis. He's coming more and more into the game and got away from 3 Lacovia players. Very nifty footwork and a good acceleration as well. Good vision as well. Slipped it through with the outside of the right boot. It was a beautiful pass, well weighted, and wasn't it well taken by young David Gibbons. His second on the day, his third of the season. And well, Glenmuir 3, Lacovia 0. Certainly didn't seem like that kind of disparity within the two teams, but it's certainly been created now.
It has brought about a change here for Lacovia. In comes Dijon Scott in the 60th. And off went O'Shane Staple. So you can look back and the record will tell you that Gibbons scored in the 59th minute, but don't you ever disregard the part played in that goal by Javon Ennis. He made it and Gibbons finished it.
One of the best crafted goals I've seen in the last couple of weeks in the schoolboy football. Well taken, and it was really a beautiful weighted pass and very well finished by Gibbons. Showed good composure, took it well with the first touch and just placed it under the goalkeeper. Very nice goal by Glenmuir.
And while the Lacovia team will look back and say they won 3-1 against Old Harbour, I don't think that they can take too much heart in that win, because Old Harbour certainly wouldn't have afforded them the best of examination, so it could have lured them into a false sense of security.
Rain coming down even harder now.
But this was
ground.
a brilliant run from Javon Ennis. He wormed his way past a couple of players and then laid it on a platter and said, have your second. And he took it sumptuously.
Very well, and that pass cut right through the defence. You could see him give the little look up just before he played it with the outside of the right boot. And it was just perfectly weighted. Not too much pace, not too little pace, and isn't he happy? I don't think he knew how to celebrate.
Didn't know what to do with himself.
And he scored a double here so far today. I think this is what caused the injury. Not really sure
Gibbons
what
just a
happened.
little
He
knock
didn't seem
there.
like he overstretched. I don't know if it was a landing.
Mullings went in against him. And now he's back up.
But again, Glenmuir, not many chances in the game, but they have taken all the chances they have gotten. It's been 3 well-taken goals. You can't say that it's been a blatant chance. It's been well created, and on each occasion the final touches have been perfect.
Nicely put together, well taken.
And that is what Lacovia haven't done with the couple that they have gotten.
This one is another chase for Dennis, and he's a very willing customer. And Kimar Thomas got there in time. The rain has increased.
So have the goals.
Pouring in.
Lacovia certainly have not adjusted well to the wet conditions. It's a much different ball game once the rain is involved. How you adjust to the turf, the slipperiness, the ball comes to you a lot quicker, so your preparation needs to be better.
And this is a team that is used to playing in wet conditions. Here is Ennis again! This time the goalkeeper has to throw himself away to his left to deny him. He might really deserve one, Ennis, and he might get it. He might yet get one before the end of the contest. But that was fizzed in towards goalkeeper Andre Freita.
That was a good strike, as we see here. This time used the first step well, got past the defender, and it was a good power behind that strike, and well, the goalkeeper eventually got his feet in the way. Well, doesn't need to be a hands, but you need to get something behind it. He did that, and that could have easily have slipped under him.
It was rather unorthodox. But
and that's the ideal part path that you want to kick the ball on now with wet conditions. You want to keep it on the turf and allow it to shoot off. It's very hard for the goalkeepers in those conditions.
This one skids in. Knocked through.
Of course, it will be even more difficult for the two teams coming in after this. There's another game here which will be the Stets, the home team, so they'll be used to it against St. James.
Lambert's ball again is out for. It was Givens. Here's Williams. He has gone absent so far. Puts it across the stone. Only presents it to one in red. And now they change gears once again. Free kick. And it could be a yellow card there for Cian Watson. And he's summoned by Danon Parchment. So he gets a yellow in the 65th.
And they've been coming in quite hard from the start of the game. It's just that with the wet conditions now, the tackles seem a lot more clumsy and are probably a lot more mistimed as we see it there. And certainly was late. Just slipped that ball across, and it was a tackle on Cyprian Lewis. And he seems to be okay. Second booking of the afternoon.
So 28 minutes, 1-0 Glenmuir thanks to Kevin Lambert. 47 minutes, David Givens, 2-0 Glenmuir. And then in the 59th, Givens again, 3-0 Glenmuir. And here they are looking for more. Lambert lifts this one to the back post and no one will get there.
Good idea, but just a little bit too much weight on that cross. Spotted the players, but I doubt they were too tall or far. But Glenmuir certainly in the ascendancy now, and you've seen where obviously their experience has counted for something. They seem just a lot more composed in this, and maybe knowing what to expect with these wet conditions. They have controlled the middle of the park in the second half very well, and certainly Javon Ennis has come to the party, the number 10.
Touch forward by Mullings. Returns it to Williams. Swung in, but no one there to make any kind of danger for the goalkeeper.
And the Glenmuir team has almost forced Williams to go wide. If you notice, he's ended up almost on the right wing now. He's trying to get the ball. He's trying to get space for himself. And that's a good sign for the Glenmuir defense. They have almost forced him wide due to the marking and so on. They've done definitely a good job in the second half. And whatever Paul Walker said to them, it's obviously gotten through.
Stone with the free kick. Lays it out for Brown. Brown drives it in, and it's headed away by Alex Brown. Blake was trying to reload it, but it's fluffed for Mullings. Now to Stewart.
It wasn't a bad delivery by any means by Brown a while ago. Good pace into the box, just nobody on the end of it. And as I say, it's just been an issue with Lacovia throughout this game. They haven't got enough players inside that box.
And here is the situation again. He has to try and find Stone. Stone knocks it down for Spence. Spence away from one, and he's shaping to shoot. He's gone back for Stone. Now he gets a cross in. Williams is arriving, but a very good touch from Rendell. Randall took up a very good position. The substitute here, Dijon Scott, lays it through for Spence. He allows that one to slip away.
Well defended by Glenmuir. Again, Lacovia putting together some good stuff. Nobody in the 18-yard box, and the one man who was in the 18-yard box is now on the right wing. So they're somewhat nullified. When you look on the edge of the 18, all you see is red shirts.
Just not happening for the Lacovia unit.
And this Ryan certainly very consistent. Just as consistent as a Glenmuir attack at the moment.
Here's Lambert. Then he slips it behind the defense. A chance for three. Flag is up. Chance of a third one for Givens. It would have been the fourth of the contest.
Nearly creating that hole again, and it's the link-up play between Lambert and Ennis. And They're certainly getting a very willing runner in Givens.
Spence.
Were not able to penetrate as much in the first half. They have certainly exploded here now.
Ushered through for Stone. Williams comes to the near post. The goalkeeper gathers it cleanly. A very safe pair of hands there from Daniel Forrest. And this Glenmuir defence, other than that one lapse in the first half, they really haven't put a foot wrong.
At all, and the goalkeeper hasn't been called upon at
Spence
all.
goes for it.
Still isn't. As even though that chance that came, he wasn't tested, the ball went well wide in the end. So he's had a smooth afternoon for the most part. With just about 20 minutes left, I think Glenmuir are home and dry. I don't know if dry is the right word to use in these conditions, but
even in wet conditions, they're home and dry. And they are getting ready to join the party.
And they're certainly in unison there. Even the warm-ups are in sync.
Properly synchronized. Free kick to Lacovia as Bryant tangled up with Mullings.
I can tell you as an official myself, it can't be very nice for the fourth official. You see him down there, he just has to stand up steady in this rain. And it's somewhat better a lot of times when you're moving in the rain, you know, you're sweating and so on, you don't feel it as much. But when you're standing up stationary and that rain coming down, just coming down on you.
Just can't move.
can't be a nice feeling at all.
Here they are coming forward. And again, Dijon Scott, I'm not impressed with what he has brought to the table since coming on. Good defending from Alex Brown. Well, the Glenmuir team, they seem quite efficient.
Yeah, they took the pressure well early on. Lacovia were certainly on the attack in the first half. Apart from that one lapse, as you mentioned, they have been quite composed on the ball. They like to bounce it. They seem to be a touch team. They've really looked a lot better in the second half. But this was something we had spoke about. I remember Ricardo Chambers had shared that with me as well, that he thought the Glenmuir team had been inconsistent so far this season. They looked very good in their last match, as you mentioned, against Cornwall College. They won 2-0, but the match before that they were a bit disappointing. So, you know, they've come here. They weren't the most impressive in the first half, but they have looked very good in the second half. And Lacovia look like they're going to make a second change.
Nicoy Blake is the one to be withdrawn. Brandon Sharp is coming in, and Lacovia need an edge.
And Sharp has scored already for the season, has one to his name, so you'd want to double his tally at least. The man who is coming out, Nicoy Blake, he hasn't scored at all for this season. 17 goals for Lacovia so far. I don't think they'll score enough to earn anything from this game.
Unless they can produce a dramatic last quarter of an hour.
They were leading the standings coming into this game. I'm almost positive that they will end up in second place, at least, at the end of this.
Well, if Cornwall were to really put their foot in the throats of Old Harbour, and then they would have eclipsed this Lacovia team and move up into second place if they can score a bigger than a 3-1 win.
As it stands now, Lacovia are at -1 in terms of goal difference. They were +2 coming into this. They're now down 3-0, so they're -1. As you mentioned, Cornwall would be -2, but once they have a victory, they would get to at least -1.
It's
so
broken up again, and Glenmuir, they have the ability to really hit you on the counter with pace. Now Cyprian Lewis.
And in the early part of the encounter, it was Lacovia who were showing the pace and getting to most of the 50-50 balls. But we've noticed since the wet conditions, Glenmuir have used the ball well. And because the ball is moving a lot quicker now, they play it around into spaces, and that is what has caught out the Lacovia team quite a bit.
the conditions have changed, the underfoot conditions, and hence the players will have to readjust to the situation, those who are coming on.
It seems like they have a wide array of boots down there as well, Glenmuir.
Here is Lambert losing his footing.
I'm sure you wouldn't mind up here, although I hear you're out of commission for a while with an injury.
Absolutely. And so the players lacing up with a proper footwear. And
Puma
that
seems
is
to be the order of the day.
Curtin Wright, or Curtin, will be coming on maybe to add his contribution in the last few minutes.
We spoke about the names at the earlier part of this game. This is no different, very unusual name. See a lot of persons doing combination names now where they have a part of the mother's name and part of the father's name.
This one is fetched on the far side by Ennis, and he's going to round his man and drives it into the box. And again, the change of pace from Ennis is problematic for the Lacovia defense.
I've been very impressed with him, Ennis, especially in the second half. Didn't see a lot of him in the first half, but this second half he's created a lot of problems for the Lacovia team.
Watson in possession. On for Brown. Now Stone. Back to Brown. Now Williams. They're trying to pick their way in. That was needless. Spence was in a good position waiting for it.
This is a substitute.
Now
Scott.
It's gotten away from one. Needs to get a good cross in and lays it back for Brown. And it's being attacked and driven over from Brandon Sharp.
And that was well defended by the Glenmuir team. Again, it was a testing ball in, and it seemed like Renelo Brown was trying to get on the end of it. As we say, well defended again, and then a poor strike in the end, but he was under pressure. And the Glenmuir defensive unit have certain tightened the screws, and they are not about to disturb their clean sheet. They kept a clean sheet in the last one, as you mentioned. They are very mean defense, this Glenmuir team. They don't let in many. You did mention that at the start of the game. They have, I guess, listened to what you have said and decided to remain consistent.
They can be as kind as a star apple tree, as I said. And for those who are from the rural parts of Jamaica would understand exactly how kind a star apple tree can be. And we're still waiting on the ball to return. A lengthy stoppage here. That clearance from Brandon Sharp, because it didn't look as if it was a shot. Alton Brown has to stay motionless. Looks as if he's feeling a little chilly as well.
Actually looks pretty dry there, but I'm sure he's rather under the weather.
Still, we wait on here for the balls, and no one has surfaced.
That shot before certainly went the distance. Down towards those banana trees at the left end of the field.
Away by Watson. No Brown. Scott up against Randell, can't get past him. No Mullings. And still they don't have enough players inside the box where they cross to come.
There's nobody inside the box, Damien. Not one person inside the box. Williams is on the edge of the box.
Here's Scott to Mullings. He plays it back to the top of the penalty area. Now Spence.
And the squares always have to come out almost to the penalty arc because there's nobody inside the box to be aimed at. The Glenmuir defense, their two centre backs are basically free. And up to this point, we haven't seen the coaching staff say to them, look, you need to get a man onto the last man, pressure them. That's the only way they're going to score, unless they get a proper shot from outside the box.
Here is Mullings. Can he make good on this situation? And again, no one is really galloping into the penalty area. Now it's on for Scott. Scott trying to get around. Rendell puts it back on the top of the box, and it's swept away rather aggressively.
It's easy work for the Glenmuir team. Very easy work. They have two defenders free. One makes a tackle, and one is covering, or two are covering.
Here is Scott again. Offside. So just over 10 minutes to play. He has been booked already in the contest. Watson booked in the 65th. And then there was also a caution for Givens in the 57th. But Givens, he has scored it twice. Here is Stone.
I think you'd rather those two stats.
Hint of a handball there. Ricochet takes it out to Spence. He does a drop off for Scott.
I'm not so sure if that was needed from Scott. They've been very aggressive today, Lacovia. That's one thing about them. They're a very aggressive team, very quick generally. But again, you're trying to think out that play. You're in the attacking third. Do you want to give away a goal kick? You just want to box the defender in, force him to kick the ball out for a throw, if anything. But a sliding, crunching tackle there is really not what is asked for.
Guess he likes crunchy. This one is left for Ennis.
He'll certainly be having a crunching score line by the time this is finished.
Now Dennis. He finds Lewis as that one's skid into him, and Lewis guilty of grabbing hold of the opponent. Here is Spence. Back for Sharp. And it's given away high up the pitch, and it could be problematic here. No, Lambert. Back for Dennis. There's a man outside, and he knew he was there. He plays it into Ennis. Heavy first touch. And exposed him a little too much that time to Kimar Thomas.
Good idea with the first touch, though, Ennis. And that's what, you know, we're seeing in previous games, Damien, where a lot of the guys, when they get that ball coming across them like that, they tend to wait and let the angle of the ball take it towards the corner flag. He cut the angle and tried to get inside the box to get in front of the defenders. The touch was a little bit too heavy. But had that been a little softer, he would have been in on goal with a shooting opportunity. And that's sensible play.
Glenmuir closing in on maximum points once again, and it would leave them atop the group on 6 points. And certainly you'd want to think that they will beat Old Harbour and get to the semi-finals.
Three-time champions, Glenmuir, had a fabulous team in 2004, 2006. Won again 2 years ago in 2012. Didn't see much of that team, Damien. I don't know if you did, but I certainly saw the 04-06 team, and it was really a nice team. A lot of players have gone on since to play football nationally,
and all these players
nationally, overseas as well, and into the Premier League setup.
And I think in 2004 they also had the former Portman United striker. I can't remember his name just now.
I think Richard West was also a part of that team.
And they really played well. And a flat delivery, and goalkeeper Freighter has pounced upon it. One of the rare times he's get his hands on the ball. Normally he's retrieving it from his net. Here is Spence. Now Mullings inside for Spence. Williams up in support, and he bypassed him and was looking for Stone to run behind the defense. Here's Givens.
And the Lacovia team generally, they haven't really they have been dominated in the second half, but generally they have looked pretty good in the middle of the park and so on. And if the area of the game I think they need to work on is getting into that final third, that transition into the box. They need to get more players in there if they plan to score more goals and beat more teams, especially the teams of quality. You need to put the defense under pressure. And that's probably one of the things the coaching staff needs to look at. Errol White and Fitzroy Ambersley.
Geraldine Bennett will be coming on for Glenmuir in just a short while. Here is Brown, dispossessed by Lambert. On by Givens. Intercepted on its way though by Stewart. Next one comes across for Watson. Flicked on by Stone, no one there to help him out in that situation. And it's rather nonchalant here from Glenmuir. They're so easy in possession. And they're just playing out the final minutes of this game. They're leading it 3-0. And they have just about 6 minutes plus stoppage time to just hold on to this sizable lead.
And surprisingly, well, maybe they're just resting Javon Ennis. Certainly had an excellent second half, Ennis. Creator of that beautiful third goal that was scored and gave the Lacovia defense a lot of trouble. His shift is over for today.
And
rest those legs.
And he has done a very tidy shift as well.
Geraldine, as you mentioned, he will be Geraldine Bennett. Well, another one of those unusual names. He will be coming in.
So he has gone in.
The rain has somewhat eased now. Finally, even the breeze has calmed down quite a bit.
And Stone being helped to his feet.
It seems like Lacovia will make their third and final change as well. It seems like Kadeem Stone will be the man taken out. And Ramon Green.
And so the injured Stone is out. And the green light for Green. So he gets to go in the last 5 minutes here. Not so certain how much he'll be able to dent the scoreline. This is the substitute, Bennett. No, Dennis. Back out to Lewis. Green. Working in tandem with Watson. Green to Sharp.
And it's important that Lacovia still try and finish this game well. They don't want to concede any more goals than they have already done as well, because goal difference could very well come down to goal difference at the end of it, depending on how this group works its way out.
Stranger things have happened, so Old Abbott could very well surprise Glenmuir. Here's Lambert, scorer of the first goal. He's gotten away from his man. Still going, still Lambert. A little mazy run here. Manages to get the cross in, and almost an own goal. Good reaction save from goalkeeper Andre Freitas, or else that would have been poor.
Nifty footwork again by Lambert. Scored a brilliant volley in the first half. And
now Scott lays it back for Spence. Spence goes by one. Spence gone by two. Still Spence. Bumping off his attackers. He goes down inside the box. What's a decision? Penalty.
Well, interesting here. And Andre Spence, we mentioned he won't be bounced over. They tried to bounce him over. Good skill, good footwork by him, as we see here again. I was a little bit surprised by the call. Put it through the legs there, and we see him here. He's on the ball. He bounces off the Glenmuir defender and trying to turn back here.
That was a little soft.
A little soft there. I actually think one of his feet got stuck in the ground. We'll see it here again. He does well here to get past.
The decision was made on the far side by Ojay Duhaney.
And it seems this is a moment here now. There's a little touch on him here. Oh, that was a flop.
That was soft.
And he must expect to get tackled. So,
well, the substitute, Ramon Green, comes off the bench and could get his name on the score sheet. Well, he does. Cuts the deficit and has improved Lacovia's goal difference. I don't think it will improve their points, but certainly they trail it 3-1 very late in the day, and is purposefully taking the ball back to the halfway line. Very composed finish.
And we see it here. He's going to place it to right foot. It was a good attempt by goalkeeper Daniel Forrest. He actually got a hand to it As we see here, went in the corner, he got a hand to it, but the slipper conditions of the ground just with the pace took it past him. Wasn't a strong enough left hand. As we see it here again, well placed with the opened the right boot nicely, placed it into the far corner, and well, I guess Forrest will be a little bit disappointed. He probably thinks he should have stopped that. But lucky to get that penalty, Lacovia. I looked at the replay 2 or 3 times, and it seems like he got the touch.
It was small.
He got a minor touch. They must get contact in football. It's a contact sport. But you can see that this fall was delayed, and that's what makes me feel that it was a flop.
I think he went down in installments.
And we've seen so far he's certainly not an easy player to put over. Nobody has put him over so far. So for him to fall down so easily there leaves a lot to be desired. But the officials saw it differently.
Well, Jay Duhaney, 3 minutes of time will be added at the end of this, and this is
we have a look at it again.
Debatable moment.
I mean, that was probably more contact there. He stayed up there, tried to get past. You see 2 nibbles there, nobody, and then the delay. You know, it's.
Well, the ball had gone outside, so hence his decision to go down. And I tell you what, he sold it to the assistant on the far side. He bought it.
I guess he won the Oscar.
And the Oscar goes to
no more than Andrew Spence. But Lacovia will take it. They have 1 goal on the scorecard. As you mentioned, it's the goal difference might be very important at the end of the group stages. Probably based on their performance in the overall part of the game, maybe deserving
of a goal.
They certainly had the better play, I think, in the first half. I would have given them the edge even though they were down by a goal to nil.
Here is Sharp, lifts this one behind the defense, and the goalkeeper comes out and he lost it momentarily. Then gathered it on the second attempt.
Has spoiled the clean sheet of Glenmuir though. And they had done a pretty good job up to 85 minutes.
Here they come again. It's Givens with a chance for the hat-trick. The angle was acute, and he had no one to play to. No option but to try.
Likes to slip when he kicks the ball, Givens. I don't know if it's a specific style of his, but tried it again.
Just trying to finish off the equation himself. Just hit over from a tight angle. And the goalkeeper there, Forrest, really gets right during the penalty. Couldn't hold on to it. Here's Sharp. All towards Mullings. Mullings has left it for Spence. Spence smuggles it to the feet of Mullings. He comes inside, then back to Spence. He's heading for the box, maybe to tumble over again. This time he goes down. And a corner kick is on the end of it.
Well, he's very smart, Andrew Spence. He got one already on that side. I think he decided, well, let me try my luck again with the assistant. Maybe he'll buy my acting skills.
Lovely. Inside the box, the heads go up, and it's steered wide of the target by Watson. So just about 30 seconds left.
I think both teams, certainly Glenmuir, wouldn't mind a whistle at this point. They've done a good day's work, scored 3 goals.
And this one is sprayed over the top. And Danian Parchment just takes a little glance at the watch. And maybe in a few seconds or so, the end of Lacovia would have been confirmed. And an acute angle. And so Spence won the penalty, Green dispatched it, but all that counted for little. Only consolation because goals from Lambert and Givens with a double had put plenty of breathing space between Glenmuir and Lacovia. The whistle have been hugged up to the lips of Danian Parchment. He takes a couple blow at it. And that's the end of Lacovia. Glenmuir perfect, 2 from 2. They are atop the group on 9 points and within maybe on 6 points. and maybe within just one or so of getting to the semi-final. If they are to draw their next game and Cornwall College fail to win, they are off to a semi-final party. And so it is Glenmuir's day in Santa Cruz. Lacovia, they are familiar with this strip, but certainly Glenmuir have come into town and they have saw and conquered. We're going to join Chris Taylor for the highlights, and at the end of that we'll be talking to the coaches of the respective teams.
A good victory for the Glenmuir team. First half action, I said have given the edge. This was a beautiful opportunity, well defended by the Lacovia team, and this was probably one of the better chances we'll see now. Dropped the left shoulder beautifully was Williams, got away from the defense, and a little more composure and he would have put his team up by a 1-0 advantage. This was a beautiful volley from Lambert, and that started off things for Glenmuir. Kevin Lambert, what technique that was to hit it on the volley with the outside of the right boot. It found the top corner, and goalkeeper Andre Freitas had no chance. That was 1-0 to Glenmuir, and we see some good skill here by Williams again. He was certainly the highlighted player for the first half for Lacovia, and Lacovia just guilty of not getting enough players into the box. Here's a chance again. This was for Sian Watson, and he would put his shot over the bar. As we see a couple tackles here. This was second half action, and this would be the second goal. A beautiful ball into the box by Leroy Bryant, and what a finish it was by David Gibbons. Took it well on the left thigh and then with the left foot, and a nice finish it was. This was another chance, and well tackled there by goalkeeper Andre Freitas, thwarting the chances. Glenmuir would keep coming forward, and this would be the third goal, the second for Gibbons. This was in the 59th minute, and it was all created by Javon Ennis, who got past three players and then a nicely weighted pass with the outside of the right boot. And Glenmuir would go up by 3 goals. This would have been a booking for Sian Watson. Not a good tackle as well, as the rain had started here on the Steds turf. And they certainly didn't address the rain and the wet conditions at all well, were the Lacovia team. They seemed beaten to every delivery and so on, and a lot of tackles coming in. But Glenmuir, certainly the top team on the day, as we see another cross put in, and nearly an own goal here. And they would keep their 3-0 advantage until this. And quite a soft penalty. Andre Spence here going through riding couple challenges, then decided to go down when the ball went out. It was agreed by linesman Ojay Duhaney, and the penalty converted. 3-1 to Glenmuir at the end of this one, and Damien, we send it to you.
Coach Warren Simpson, a polished performance from your team here, and you're now in a very good position to make the semi-finals. But how do you sum up the performance of your team here today?
Well, the performance of our team here today is based on the stage at where our program is at. We are peaking at the right time. I believe in systematic preparation, and it's coming out now based on what was happening in the early season. A number of persons had questions, but we are bearing the fruit of hard work right now. Today our performance was immaculate based on all the things that we planned to do in containing this team. We played through the 3/3 of the field today, from our defensive third through the midfield third and the final third. And we recognize that the Lacovia team is a little suspect in the defensive third in terms of when they pull up, they don't arrange back themselves quickly. So we really hit them in terms of that today.
You had a couple of players' pace and skills up front. Is that something that you have used to good effect, and have you asked these players to go out there and express themselves? Because we saw that today and it worked well in your favor.
Definitely. Not only that they are fast, but they have good change of pace. And when you get the opponent flat-footed, the change of pace always works. And that's what happened today. They did not know when we were making the transfer in terms of the transition from midfield to the attacking third. So they were at a loss, and we use it to good effect because we have people who are really fleet-footed and they are fast. I said to the interviewer yesterday that at the end of this game, we are expecting to have a foot and a half into the semi-final, and that's exactly what we have done today. And also the Gleaner today motivated us because it said that Lacovia was planning and beating us, and we know all the things that the coach said, that we had something in store for them. Because what happened, it's that after the game, it is important based on the pre-game predictions. I don't like to predict, I like to surprise, and that's what Glenmuir is all about.
Thanks and all the best.
Thank you.
And that we're here with right. Coach, certainly you were beaten by a better team, but you had the chance to really unsettle them early on. You never took your chance, and hence the price is a big defeat in a sense.
Definitely, we get our chances early in the game, especially in the first half. You know, we should have been probably 3 goals up, but we didn't take our chances, and now it paid. I think we're a bit unsettling to attack and they count on us, so and they capitalize on that.
All your hard work in the first game, beating Old Derby, you think it was undone here by this familiar 3-1 defeat? You won 3-1, now you've lost 3-1.
No, I think we stand a chance of going to the next round.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
So they have it from Coach Earl White, and that's it from us here in Santa Cruz once again. My name is Damien Gordon on behalf of the entire production team, my expert analyst Christopher Taylor, producer Keisha O'Mealy, and the production assistant, and of course Andretta. Damien Gordon saying bye-bye for now.